I don't even pay attention to. That's why I didn't say like 1,000 followers. Now I'm gonna do this because I knew it wasn't when I hit 1,000. Like I was like, it's gonna go away. I know it, and so I ended up going a little over, a little under, and so.
Well, that's just it, and that's I think a big part of progress that people do not anticipate and turn them right off is that progress looks like this.
Yeah.
It's not like this. So as soon as somebody sees recoil, they're just like, I fucking suck.
What did I do wrong?
Yeah, what did I do wrong?
Say?
I'm a piece of shit or something like that. And you know, and as I've actually, it hasn't happened exponentially, but when you're building, especially YouTube's a hard, like my main goal is
YouTube
to become
so saturated.
I'm very adamant about becoming a partner with YouTube, but it's like you have to get to 1,000 subs. Not easy, and you lose a couple along the way. So sometimes you're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you're also, I think your medium is a very niche thing because you're putting episodes that are an hour long, 2 hours long, and so to ask someone
to
see that with people that are relatively unknown, right?
And,
I mean,
exactly.
I don't want to say that. I didn't look at all your guests, but I'm saying, like,
you're
someone
right
like me,
though. You're right though.
You know,
well, just anybody. I've had friends on, and but here's something I did recognize though, and about because I was thinking about, okay, I'm in the podcast thing. I'm doing podcasts. Joe Rogan does podcasts. We all know that. But what's the difference between? I said to myself, well, what's the difference between me and Joe Rogan? Obviously, there's a fucking huge difference.
Yeah.
But the only difference really is audience.
Yeah.
So then, what's audience?
Mm-hmm.
Audience is people that know about the show.
Yes. Yep.
So even in Ludlow alone, there's 22,000 people. Not to say that they'll all watch the show, of course. But the point is that ends up growing, and people then, like you were saying, the world catches up to you in that way.
Yep.
And so that's now, people can go on, oh yeah, there's content that I like here. Oh, I'm familiar with this guy. Oh, I'm familiar with you. You come on. You might share it with some people, and then they're familiar with that. And then all of a sudden, this brand new network starts to grow.
Oh yeah.
And that's kind of what what my train of thought was with a podcast, and not going, whoa, look how, looking at other podcasters like this, kind of like,
yeah.
The way you get there is through creating network.
Yep.
And that's pretty much what this is.
And wouldn't it be nice to look back as the days go on, not even to look back, but to say, okay, 3 people heard about it today.
Yeah.
0 people heard about it the next day, and 7 people heard about it today.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't it nice to know when those people hear about it, that every brick that you laid, every episode is done well, everything looks good, all the cameras are high quality, everything is packaged great, because that's going to leave an impression on somebody.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? If you go in like thinking like, well, not that many people listen, like that's going to stay that way.
You know what's also another nice feature too? At least, and I'm sure this shows
on Spotify too, right?
Yeah, Spotify
awesome.
and Apple Podcasts. If you guys are, some of you are listening, tune in. Though, what I was going to say, what is also a interesting feature about anybody's product or production or content is seeing the progressiveness. If you look back, Jameson was my first episode.
Yeah, it was.
It was a different world. I
Wow.
didn't have a I didn't.
Oh, when did you start it? When was this?
I started in
like
May.
April,
May.
something?
Yeah,
April,
the end of
May.
May, I think, is when we aired our very first episode.
Wait, so like months? We're talking months?
Months.
Yeah.
Oh, you're doing good. Dude.
Months. Yeah,
That's good.
it's going well.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's still doubt in that though. And my point is the how cool it is to see where it was and now where it is, and even that's just only a few months. But the point is that you can see growth if you give it a chance and you trust yourself, and that's probably a lot of what you've done in the years that you've been producing. I mean. Compared to your first piece of work to what you've been doing now.
Oh man, it's a
night
whole
and
other
day,
galaxy.
Yeah.
And I think so I'll say the first thing that's similar between what we do, and then obviously the thing that's different from it is like you say, music's the most popular thing in the world, but it's also something that, like, if I was an athlete, right, and I was at the highest level, and I use my body to do that, eventually one day my body's going to burn out. Music, when I make it, the more it's used, the more I get from it.
Yeah.
And it does nothing to me, it does nothing to my health. I could do it when I'm 60. I could do it when I'm 80.
It's a drug. It is a drug.
It makes people feel something.
Yeah.
And that's powerful. It resonates with them. It brings them back. And then what you're doing here does that also. All of those things. And now you're adding to the equation the fact that every single guest that you have on has their own life path.
Exactly.
I have people who are going to watch this because of my friends and family.
Yeah.
And every single other person does.
And that's
and
what
whatever,
that's what I
whatever
actually count
happens
on
in the
too.
next 3 years to me
Yeah.
or John or Eli or any of the people who have been on your show
Yeah.
is going to come back to this.
Yeah.
You know, like regardless, like what if our success becomes this or that, like they're going to find this too. You
And
know,
be like, hey, there I was.
Yes.
Back in that time
Yes.
of my life.
yes.
And
no,
and
I'm
that's,
saying like fans that we
Oh,
haven't
yeah.
that haven't heard of our music.
Oh,
yet
that too.
are going to find this.
That too.
And
Your
so
name's
you're
attached
like
to the show.
You're leaving
Paper trail.
you're planting seeds that
Yeah.
are going to like exponentially grow.
One day, yeah.
Yes.
That's one of two reasons why I really wanted to get more, and I have a little bit of a niche with the support local artists, because like I was telling you before, there's so much to be appreciated about all these different artists that are around here who do not get the appreciation they deserve for the quality of the music they're producing is far greater than the popular shit that's being played on the billions
Yep.
scale.
Yep.
And so I'm infinitely blessed personally to have the luxury of living somewhere near like Springfield and East Hampton and Northampton, all these places with a lot of really good artists who are on the rise.
Are you from here? Are you from Ludlow?
I mean, I grew up in Palmer, but I
Okay,
just moved
yeah.
to Ludlow a couple years ago. And it's just, it's in other words, it would just be a shame to not get that out there. And I think the podcast form, it's kind of funny. We live in that day and age where nobody has the any attention span worth shit, right? But the funny thing is you either have 7 seconds or 3 hours.
Yes.
Because people will sit and listen to a podcast all the way
Absolutely.
through.
Yeah.
Well, at least myself and plenty others that I know,
Oh, bro,
Jameson.
Dan Carlin, Hardcore History.
You-
That's my shit.
Believe it or not, you and Jeremy turned me on to podcasts like
Yeah.
years ago. I never really listened to like Joe Rogan's
Yeah.
podcast.
You know what's funny? When I worked at my last job, and it was third shift, I would listen to Joe Rogan podcast and Joey in Church of What's Happening Now.
Yeah.
Joey Diaz. And they talked about it in an episode, and I was like, "Yo, you don't even know you're speaking right to me." Like they were like, "They're like, there's that motherfucker working third shift who like this is their survival." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Yo, that's literally me right now." Like,
Yeah.
I would listen to 4-hour podcasts because I think I worked 10 and a half hour, 11-hour shifts.
What did you
And
do
Bro,
so-
before
third
music?
shift work is the worst.
Yeah, it's hell.
Yep.
on it.
Yeah, but it was 4 days a week, so it was pretty cool. I looked at like a label company.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, just manufacturing labels,
Yeah, it sucked.
paper. Yeah.
Lots of
Sound-
paper.
Sound,
and
it's
just-
as boring as it sounds.
literally, yeah, just paper. Like,
Yeah.
oh, sick. Also, that ties in what I wanted to bring up a little bit ago when you said the personal training, right?
Yeah.
So, have you heard of the idea of like a shadow career or a shadow life?
Oh no, what is that?
So that's like so if I work at 7-Eleven, right? That's
Yeah.
gonna suck a lot.
Yeah.
And then I think about music. Okay, that's gonna be great. But now, like for me, like I've done video editing and I've made songs on Fiverr. I've done a lot of songwriting for other people, and that would be like the shadow career. That's the in between. That is like I'm not working a job, but I'm also doing something that's near my true calling. But I'm actually too scared to do that.
Mm.
So I'm using this as an excuse, sort of, to. And I'm not saying that's what you're doing.
No,
definitely.
no.
But I'm
I
saying
know what you're
like
saying.
it's slightly better.
Well, you
but
need a
and
support
and
system.
for months or years or whatever, you're like, oh, this is way better than working in a job.
Yeah.
But then after a while, you go, you know what? Like this doesn't do that for me. Like it doesn't do. Like I know what I want to do.
Yeah.
I know what I really want to do, and I know what really is going to bring in. But instead of thinking like what's going to bring in money, it's like what's going to make me happy.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a very easy thing to say when you have money and you're happy. But if anything, for all the shit I've been through, it's like I've realized that that's the most important thing. Really, is being happy. Obviously, you need a place to stay. Obviously, you need to make money,
Food
to
and
live.
shelter.
Yes,
but
yes,
that's
yes.
the question I actually always ask people. I go, well, here's the bridge to that. Here's how you bridge that gap rather. How much money do you need to be alive?
Yeah,
And if it's
a lot less than you
it's
think.
a lot less than you think. A couple $1,000s,
yeah,
you're good.
yeah. For every
Now you
month.
can live your dream.
Yeah.
Right, every month, right? That's what I'm saying. So it's like when you really size these things up, you then begin to see the pattern in which you kind of have to cater to for a little bit to then get the leverage you need to secure yourself in the life that you want to have. And I've seen people do that.
Yeah.
I've seen again. I'll shout out Trevor Dorian, a great friend of mine and mentor, and he's retired at 35. It's due to just being in the real estate business, and now he owns properties and stuff like that. And he quit his job and he
Yeah.
doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
So in the same way, it's a little different because he did solely for the relief.
I mean, sort of, but it's also like life is what you make it. Like he
Exactly,
just took it by the horns.
He
And
took it by the
This is
horns.
how I want to live.
This is how I want to live.
That's it.
And that's the same thing. Obviously, as a creator for yourself, it would
Yeah.
be just the most boring life if you weren't creating.
yeah.
So that's what you're gonna just. have to
And that's
do.
another thing too. Is do you ever feel like as an artist, because you are what you're creating here is art. You're
And
expressing
yeah,
yourself.
it's content. It's
Do you feel like you're like trying to? Do you think sometimes like for me sometimes I have this storyline, right? Everybody has a story that they tell themselves every day
Yeah.
when they wake up and why they're here and what they're doing, and
yeah.
this went
You're
well and
absolutely
that went
right.
well and this is against me and blah blah blah. Sometimes I'm like, you know what? You're being pretty dramatic, and especially in my moments
Yeah.
where I'm doing good, I'm like, yo, just be light on your feet. Like, don't make this such like a, oh, it's becoming and it's this
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like,
It's not fucking
yo,
fairy
just
tale.
relax.
Yeah,
like,
just
like
chill.
just
You're-
yeah, like be and there's sometimes where I'm like, no, I absolutely want to be in a fairy tale. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Sometimes where I want to be very, sometimes I think that's the thing too, is sometimes I'm so low that my dreams are the only thing that carry me.
Yeah,
Right? That
yeah.
head in the clouds is the only thing that keeps me going. And so that definitely has its moments. But there's sometimes where I think maybe I'm kind of focusing on these ideas of what I want and who I am so much that they're slowing me down a little bit. Like in the sense that I'm taking them too seriously.
Yes.
You know, and so
Yes.
I'm losing. I'm
Dude, I know
slowing.
exactly what you're saying, and that
Yeah.
can be terrible for your self motivation,
Mm.
because in other words, you're so serious about what you love that you do not enjoy it, and that's the scariest fucking thing in the
Oh,
world.
man.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And that happens. That does happen. So sometimes
everybody just got.
whoa, yeah, dude, seriously though.
That's rough,
Dude, it
When-
happens.
when you care about like so much
Yeah.
to make something so perfect.
You don't
When
enjoy
it's not perfect,
But you know
it's
what's-
just
You know what's funny is,
Well, that's-
before you say what you're going to say,
Okay.
like, when you first asked me about my creative process, I was like, if I could say it in one word, it would be painful. That would
Yeah.
be my creative process. Like it sucks.
suffering.
Yeah, like every song, I lose
Yeah.
I lose something in
But
it.
there's
Yeah.
there's a high to it, you know what
Oh,
I mean? It's like
absolutely.
adrenaline, you know.